So I guess this is it. I'm Jeremy Boring, and this is The Jeremy Boring Show. One of the things that I've thought about over the last couple of years, and it's because I've been a beneficiary of some wisdom that was shared with me, which I'll get to. I want to help people make more money. And I haven't cracked the code on exactly how I'm going to do it, other than I'm going to use some opportunities, for example, even on this show, to make a point of talking about it, because we don't. People look in and perhaps they think, that 3 out of 4 of us are successful in life. And it breeds a lot of problems in the human heart. It can breed resentment towards people who you think are being successful. It can breed a distorted view of the world, and social media contributes to this, where you think people are more successful than they are. And you think that, but one thing that I discovered in my life early on, and that I've seen with a lot of young people, in particular young religious people, is that while they may espouse a belief in, say, capitalism or incentive-based economics, in sort of philosophical terms, in their own lives they have shame about success and shame about making money, and a fear of allowing themselves to prosper. And I suffered greatly from that for most of my life. I worked as hard as anyone I knew. I would not accept pay for my work. And 2 people really spoke into my life at a very similar time about this. One of them is a friend of mine, Frank Brunner, and another one is Ben Shapiro, who came into my life around that time and said, "Why do you do all of these things for free?" And the truth is, there was a reason. I didn't understand it about myself what the reason was. I came to understand over time that it was a kind of cowardice, that I took a lot of big risks. I moved to LA from a small town. I was going to be an actor, a writer, a producer, and I had opportunities to take capital from people and produce films, take capital from people and found companies, Declaration Entertainment with our friend Bill Whittle, Spiral, The Arroyo with Jonathan Hay, others. Or I had the opportunity to step in and help run this organization of conservative Hollywoods, many thousands of people. And it was always on very financially tenuous footing, and so I didn't take any money for running that organization. Right. The funny thing is, if you look back across that same period of time, millions of dollars went through my hands, and I paid out salaries to other people. So when I was running that organization, of that nonprofit of Hollywood conservatives, I was paying staff, but I didn't pay myself. When I was doing the Arroyo, I was making sure that we didn't have a lot of money, but every person got their check every day. When we were running Declaration Entertainment, I made sure that Bill Whittle was making a good living and that Jonathan Hay was making a good living. Nowhere in there was I rewarding Jeremy. And when I say not at all, I mean not at all. And I came to see it's because I had a fear of being kind of found out. That if I paid myself and the project failed, that I would sort of be revealed as some sort of fraud. But if I didn't pay myself and the project failed, no one could accuse me of having had bad motives. No one could accuse me of it having failed on the basis of me having my hand in the cookie jar. But of course, the opposite was true. Many of those companies may well have succeeded had I tied my economic future to them. Right. Had I had skin in the game, then I would have had incentive to have worked even. And I worked hard. I don't want you to think that I was phoning it in. But I wasn't phoning it in as though my economic life depended on it, because my economic life did not depend on it. And Ben used the very colorful analogy that my problem wasn't lack of urine, it was the direction in which I peed. That when a good wind is blowing, you do well to turn the other way. And of course that was right, that I had plenty of effort, but I wasn't putting my effort in the right directions. I wasn't letting these values that I espouse of free markets and incentives actually apply to my own life. That I thought that I was somehow morally above my own ideas of what would work for other people. And I talk to young Christians in particular, young conservatives, and I find that so many people have similar issues where they think they're too good for their actual worldview. And you shouldn't be. Because having not had very much money and having had more money, having more money is better. Money doesn't make you happy. Money doesn't solve all of your problems. But growing up in a small town, growing up middle class, much more blessed than many of the people around me, nevertheless, knew a lot of economic struggle in my life and witnessed far more around me economic struggle. And economic struggle does wear on the soul of a man.
It sure does.
It makes it, you have a responsibility to yourself to reward, to make sure that you are getting reward for your work. You have a responsibility to your family to make sure that you're being rewarded appropriately for your work. So I want to find ways to help people see past this particular fear, the fear of allowing themselves to succeed. It manifests in non-economic ways too, of course. I want people to allow themselves to have the successes in life that they should, that will make their lives better, their families' lives better, their church's life better, their society's life better, and find ways to give practical advice to that, but also sort of this high-level philosophical advice.